Today, we are delighted to have Professor Francesco Corvaro, the Special Envoy for Climate Change from the government of Italy, join us here. Professor Corvaro serves as Italy's Special Envoy for Climate Change, representing the country in global climate negotiations and multilateral forums. A full professor of thermal science at the Università Politecnica de Marche, his expertise spans across RE systems, sustainable technologies, climate mitigation strategies, focuses on bridging science, policy, and diplomacy, and works to advance Italy's commitment under the Paris Agreement and the UN 2030 agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring our hands together to welcome Professor Corvaro. Professor Corvaro, I'm delighted to have you here at the Sunny Side Up series. This is a series that we keep conversational and anecdotal. And this year, as we celebrate the 10 years of the Paris Agreement, the world finds itself at a turning point and no longer debating if ambition is necessary, but it's about how to make it real, inclusive, and transformative. Italy has played a pivotal role in advancing this global agenda through the EU Green Deal and the recent submission of its updated NDC. I think reinforces the bloc's long-term commitment towards climate change. As we are 10 years old from the Paris Agreement, and ISA was born out of the Paris Agreement too, I would want to pose my first question to you, that what is the next frontier for climate leadership? While EU's updated NDC reflects both high mitigation and strategic foresight, from your perspective, how do such forward-looking targets influence global climate diplomacy, and what role can Italy play in ensuring that these commitments translate onto real action? Sir.
So first of all, it is a real pleasure not only to be here because ESA for us is a great partner, but also because there is the air conditioning. This, first of all, is really good. So I had the honor to participate to your event in New Delhi, and it is for me a really good experience, and it is a real honor that Italy decided to be part of this adventure. Yes, we are 10 years from the Paris Agreement, and I believe that we have to improve something. Right now is the good time. First of all, we have to transmit a message. The energy transition is a great opportunity, particularly in job creation for the younger generation. We need new capabilities to perform the renewable energy, because renewable energies is not only to install a panel. It's not just this, but we need to rebuild, rethink all this grid that is necessary to improve the energy production and electricity. Because, by the way, in the next year, we will need a huge amount of electricity for a lot of reasons, not only for the air conditioning, but moreover for the artificial intelligence, cloud, data center, and so on. So on one side, we are asking for more energy. On the other side, we need to decarbonize. Solution, renewable energies. Renewable energies, and in my opinion, solar energy, for one reason. Because solar energy is the only energy that, in my opinion, is democratic. The sun reaches everyone. Wind, geothermal are important, but we need some specific characteristics. Sun is useful for everyone. So I believe that this kind of alliance in the next future must be involved mature and mature, bigger and bigger and forth to send this message. We need to believe in renewable energy and to invest in this direction. And the best ambassadors in my opinion, is the youth. Younger generation, you have these capabilities to, first of all, you understand this immediately. It's easy to speak with you about this. You are involved in climate action, and you know how it is critical this moment and how it is important the widespread of renewable energies. Secondly, because we need to create a common consensus, moreover, common dialogue. This is the next step of the climate diplomacy, to put at the same table everyone. And believe me that right now, this is the real challenge, to put everyone at the same table, recognize what we have in common and not what is the difference among us. Because if we are able to recognize what we have in common, first of all, our planet, we can see the differences as a richness and not as a limit.
Wow, thank you. Thank you, Professor Corvaro, for that question. Because internally within ISA, when we think of solar and the knowledge and that sun is for everyone and the inclusivity part, I think the aspect that it is a democratized source of electricity, energy, and is for everyone, there forms a basis of our new vision, which is focusing on moving from ambition to action. But you also raised a very interesting point of you can't do it alone, right? You need the youth to come in, the policymakers, the academia, and all of that. Italy's geographic and diplomatic position gives it a very unique role as a connector to the whole of Europe. You know, between Europe's technological strength and the global South's urgent developmental priorities. What, in your view, is the leverage of Italy's role to act as a bridge between Europe and the global South to champion this partnership?
In my opinion, it's time to stop to speak about global South and global North, first of all, for a lot of reasons. But starting from climate, this is easier to explain and to understand. Yesterday, I had an event here with several younger people, and I tried to send them this message. One of my dreams is that through our youth, you can create a global alliance where it is possible to put at the same table Ukraine younger people and Russian younger people, Israel younger people, Palestine younger people, to send a message. Before of everything, it's time to think about our future. And our future is connected to our planet. And I believe that you want a sustainable future for you and for your son. So if we are not able to discuss about this, which is the meaning of the COP? Do you think that it's really possible to solve the problem in a closed room, dark room, speaking about negotiations? So I am optimistic because I am an engineer. So I know very well that we have all the technologies that is necessary to fight against this crisis. Moreover, these technologies can be an opportunity, and I told you, particular for the younger generation. Which is the gap? The gap is that we are not disposed to speak sometimes. I want to give you this example. In my first mission in Kenya, I participated to a big meeting, and after each meeting, there is the family picture. And I put myself in front of the camera, but immediately I recognized that my colleagues from the Europe side stayed in another and looking me between curious and strange And I didn't understand why, because in my opinion, I was in the right side because the camera was in front of me. But looking close to me, I see the Russian Federation. So I know that from a diplomatic point of view, there is messages. But first of all, I am not a political man. I am not a diplomatic. I am a scientist. And I believe that I need to speak with everyone. And I believe that this kind of alliance is good to speak. In New Delhi, someone asked to the DG, which is your position about the possibility that China enters or not. In my opinion, it is necessary to have China, to have Russia, to have everyone. Otherwise, we are losing only time. And we need the COP 31, 32, 33, 35. For this reason, we are trying to use Italy as a bridge. Think about the Mattei Plan. The main purpose is to demonstrate that it's possible to create a bridge between global north and global south to pass these differences. Create dialogue is the only way, at least in the climate issue. And moreover, I want to his dream that starting from climate, we could also probably solve some other divisions. But again, we need to create the dialogue and to decide together, because the fight against the climate is not a race to arrive first, but it is a race to arrive together.
Thank you, Professor Corvaro. But, you know, we also operate, the youth of today is looking for real action. And while there are bridges that we could make to connect to a lot of places, we still need to look at reviving the spirit of multilateralism. And somewhere over the course of these 10 years, there is a growing trust deficit that has come into this particular thing. And then the youth are looking up to it. You know, the difference between the words and the action, the finance and delivery. From your vantage point, how do we restore this confidence that a multilateral process works and it is much larger than resolving just the tons of CO2?
Fortunately, speaking about climate, because I am the climate envoy, multilateralism approach is the only possibility. We don't have any other solution. It is necessary to be very clear on this point. We can have several possibilities in some other field, G2G approach, B2B approach, what you want. In climate, it's not possible. Not because I am saying this, but because as scientist, I know very well that climate respects physical law. Translation from diplomatic point of view, no borders in climate issues. So, or we accept this and we act at the multilateralism level, or we don't see any really result. Tomorrow, Italy will become net zero. And then nothing changed. Europe became, India became, is something that must be involved everyone. But right now, we have a crisis in the multilateralism approach. This is evident. For this reason, I want to come back to the youth role, because we need new minds in comparison to the one that right now has the duty to solve the system. We need new perspective. We need to be brave in this moment. It's not easy, I know very well. I risked a lot of time that someone said me, okay, go in another place, please. because sometimes what I am saying is not so acceptable in some rooms. But fortunately, I have another job. So if they decided to fire me, I came back to my university with young people, and it's a good job. It's not a bad job. So I have the possibility to speak clearly and frankly, because right now we need to change. And this can be possible only throughout the younger generation that are ready. Then it is possible to find some illuminated people at the political level. Not so much, but it's possible, in my opinion. But we need to give them the force, the support, because one thing that impressed me very much, I participated to an event organized by NATO in Montreal, and there was a panel on the information around climate. And I discovered, with my surprise, that there is a sort of misinformation on not information that try to give you this message. If you are interested in climate crisis, you are alone. This is they are trying to inculcate in you this message that if you are interested in this, you are a minority part. Reality is the opposite. And obviously it's the opposite. Because if your house is under attack, obviously you are interested in this. And this is what is happening. Be careful. I want to avoid any confusion. Climate crisis is not the end of the world, because planet is able to surpass everyone. I give you this message. Some scientists found a mushroom that instead of using the chlorophyll synthesis that normally is the tree, they use radiation, nuclear radiation. For them, Chernobyl is the paradise. You can't enter in Chernobyl area, but for them is the paradise. Nature is able to find the way every time. The problem is, in this new balance, which is the position of the human life? Because this is the problem of climate change. The issue is for us, because we are really connected with the nature. But normally, thanks to the technology, thanks to the artificial intelligence that are good, obviously, we forgot. And we think that we are God, like God. We are not in this position. And we need to recognize and to remember this when we want to speak about climate crisis for us, not for the climate. Right now we have 450 parts per million of CO2, but in the ancient year, a lot of million years ago, we arrived to 1,000. So it's not an issue for the planet, but it's for us. But we need to rebuild this. We need to rebuild the trust in this. And I believe that one of the possibilities is to invest in this kind of alliance that look for the purpose and not for the other things.
Thank you, Professor Corvaro. And I think three things that you said resonate a lot with us at ISA as well. One, the importance of new perspectives, the importance of the fact that nature will find a way. It's not alarming for the planet, it is alarming for us. And number three is making action-oriented vehicles. I'll also invite everybody to look around. Some of our work is here designed completely on action-oriented things. But let me now draw your attention to the fact that when we move from all of the pledges and perspective to actual possibilities, looking at the developmental priorities that some of the developing countries have, finance is a key issue. Now, today, where we sit at this intersection of geopolitics, innovation, and climate change, the financial structure has to evolve or has to be rethought radically. What, in your opinion, is the new global climate finance architecture? Is it more of just a blended finance instrument, or is it just guarantees, climate for debt swaps? What do you think is needed to accelerate this aspect?
So I think, first of all, that if you are not ready to invest right now in the transitioning, you are stupid. This is not something, I am not an economist, but I am able to see the price, the system, the cost. Right now, to give you an example, the cheapest possibility that we have to produce electricity is through our renewable energies. So why don't we invest in this? Or you are stupid, or you have some other reason. So again, the problem is not in the technology or in this or in this. Because another thing that I try to explain to my politician is this. Climate crisis is happening. In the next 5, 10 years, is difficult to say. We have the opportunity to use climate as an investment. After that period, climate is only a cost. Translation, you have to pay in any case. Okay, but this is acceptable only if you have a vision. If you are not looking for the voters of tomorrow, but for the world of your son and your grandson. This is the difference between a statist man, a man that has a vision, instead that a man that wants to earn something immediately. Which is the purpose? It's easy because the number is numbers. You can see the report of IRENA, you can see the report of the International Energy Agency. Everyone is evident that right now it is possible to, if we are speaking about investment, is here, is clear. Put money to have back money. The cost, you put money and finish there. So it seems stupid, but I understood that the problem is that they are not stupid. They are looking for something else, some interest, some other problem, some other idea behind of this. So we are in a situation that we don't have enough money to answer to climate crisis, climate investment, and so on. We need to change the class that are now at the level of the dirigent level. I am sorry in this, but it's evident. For me, it's evident. The first time that I entered in one of these kind of rooms, I remain surprised because the situation is like this. You say that this is black, you say that this is white, and seems that you are right. Every one of you is right. It's not possible. Or is black or is white. But this is the normal, call this narrative. You see this? The narrative is this. And if normally I have the opportunity to participate again and again, the same speeches. So I believe that it is really important to change the narrative. To change the narrative, it is possible only if we change minds. For this reason, I like one of your projects very much, that is the Starseed Center. This is the key. The key is invest in new minds, in new capabilities that can have the opportunity, because at the end, some of these young people have the opportunity to arrive to a minister level. This is the key. Change for there, because we are the majority, even if they try to give the message that we are a minority part. I don't find any other solution, because science is clear and under this point of view. The number of invest in the solar energy is clear. They think that the fossil fuel is something that it was in the past. It's true that in the past, Italy used a lot of fossil fuel and increased the pollution. It's true. But in 1950 was the best technology. Now is not the best technology. It's clear. In my house, I have a big solar panel, not because I am green, because it's convenient. It's easy. If you take the bills, use a simple calculator. You can use also by hand. It's not necessary the calculators. At the end of the day, you can immediately recognize that it's convenient. What is else? What is necessary mucher than this?
No, and I think what you make as two very important points is that the financial sector will cost every aspect. And the greater the risks, they will cost every aspect of the risk as well. But you also bring in the perspective of a culture change in the change of the minds and perspectives, for which you have interesting tools and incentives to draw, behavior change that way. Let me now have a question around the CBAM. And do you see that as a catalyst to promote more RE, or it is a constraint for the global South? Because, there is a debate that goes on. So I thought I'll ask your perspective on this.
Again, it depends. If you use the question is correct, but normally it's not possible to answer to a question with another question. But sorry, if you have the CBAM, you are able to obtain money. In which way you want to use this money? Because the problem is this. Because I can accept this narrative if this money is useful to invest, to support the developing countries to achieve a better sustainable way to transportation. This is possible. But if you want to earn this money to invest in fossil fuel, it's not the solution. Again, we have to, the instrument in itself is not bad or good. It depends to the use that I want to do with these instruments. If this instrument can be useful for investment in the emerging economy, to support them, for example, for new biofuel, to reduce the impact of the ship transportation, or for hydrogen, or this could be a possibility. Otherwise, it's not useful, not for only for the global South, but also for the global North. It's something that is a limit and not a possibility. I saw a possibility only if the purpose is the same, to achieve a sustainable future under an environmental, economical, and social point of view. Only in this way we can achieve really what is the purposes of the Paris Agreement. Otherwise, is another another element that is a limit, a constraint for everyone, for the commercial, for the globalization, for everything. So it is necessary to understand the purpose of this and how this can be useful for the emerging economy that needs support for sure. First of all, because for the vulnerability. Second one, because normally the developed countries are the first line in the climate crisis.
Professor Corvaro, I have had such a pleasure hosting you for this. But before we end this, let me pose this last question to you. COP30, in the heart of the Amazon, a COP being positioned as the COP of implementation. What would success at the end of these 2 weeks look like from your perspective?
First of all, for me, the first success happened already because we are here. We are here to discuss. We are here to have a confront. All the countries are here except someone. But this is the first example that we are alive, first of all. Second one of the best thing of this COP is really to improve the implementation. But from my point of view, the implementation is possible only throughout this kind of alliance, like the ISAL alliance, that put on the ground what is written in the paper of the COP. Because COP is able to write paper, to say we should do this and that, but then we need to translate this on the ground. And I saw a lot of projects that you are following that has this purpose. Because the president of COP, Dolago, said that we want to be a COP for the implementation. This is true. We spoke a lot in the past. Now we need to find a way to implement what we wrote in the past COP, because we know very well what is necessary. We need to mobilize money, and Italy in this case believe. I want to give you this example. Mattei Plan, nobody knows this, but which is the real positive aspect, in my opinion, of the Mattei Plan? To put together public and private sector is the only way. We need to cooperate together. This COP must be clarified. If we are not able to involve everyone in this kind of discussion, it's not possible to achieve any kind of result. We can write a lot of things, we can repeat every time the same speeches, but we are not able to achieve any really good results.
Thank you, Professor Corvaro. Let me open the floor for any question or two, if anyone has that, please.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm going by the name Ali Shauri. I'm from Tanzania, especially Zanzibar Islands. I'm here as a young who want to grow in climate, especially for the energy issues. And as you see now, we are in an energy transition. So as an energy transition, we have to see what the solution for the future. And I'm here at the solar hubs. I want to know the solar hubs or your movement, how African country has achieved in this. And as a young, I already built the interest to building my capacity and to raise awareness in my community. And in your conversation, I see the way you respect the presence of youth and young people and the movement of solar issues. So how can I get the chance or opportunity to rise or to build my capacity and to raise the awareness where I'm from in Africa? Thank you.
Thanks for the question. I believe that the biggest possibility that you have, first of all, is to study and prepare yourself. You have several centers that is dedicated for this. Italy supported this because we believe that throughout the education, the formation, the information, you can reach you increase your capabilities and allow you the capability of your community. Is a sort of virus that pass man by man, women by women. So this is really important. And after that, doing that, I believe that it is possible to attract more interest, private money to invest, because Africa is the most richness continent. You have a lot of great opportunity, great richness, great resources. So the only way is that we need, Italy need to share with you the knowledge, and we are ready to do this. We are prepared to do this, but to give you the possibility to be independent. And I want to add one important thing. One of the most used words right now is resilience. Throughout the renewable energies, you have the capability to be resilient. Also, in the very bad situation of war, because if you have renewable energies, you are independent from anyone. And energy right now is the first brick for your future. Without energy, it's not possible to do nothing.
Thank you, Professor Corvaro. And, that I'm afraid this is all the time we have. I had a pleasure hosting you. So, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Corvaro.
It's a pleasure for
Thank
me
you very
every
much.
time. First of all, because I saw so younger people. You have, as Steve Jobs said, be foolish, be hungry. Is really important right now. Stay foolish, stay hungry. And right now, for the future, it is important to be dedicated to this kind of discussions. Thank you. Thank you.